George T. Stagg, in case anyone's like,
It's not called Stagg Senior.
yeah. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. And you probably are, and that's why we like you. This week on Chill Filtered, the podcast, or should I say the number one whiskey talk show in the world, we are drinking Stagg Jr. Batch 12, specifically their 132.3 proof. Before I get into any of the whiskey, before I even talk about how we're doing, I want to talk about some business. Let's see. What's the way you can support us? Oh, tell your friends. All right. Let's hear me out. You have friends. We all have friends.
Yeah, maybe.
How many of us have them? Friends. How does that Houdini song go?
It sounded like you were speaking like in a haiku there for a second. Friends.
No,
we all have them. How many have them?
No, there's that Houdini. You know what I'm talking about? The it's like early, I don't even know, but they're like friends. How many of us have them? Before we go any farther, let's be friends. It's funny, man. You should look it up.
Be friends. That
Houdini with HOO, I believe. HOO, or is it WHO? I think it's HOO Dini.
So when I think of friend songs, I think of a small town band from Kennewick, Washington called Small, and they had a song called Friends.
Nice.
And I guarantee you, nobody here has probably heard that song.
But a bunch of people have heard the song that I just referenced, I bet.
Now, the next song I think of is Why Can't We Be Friends?
Yeah.
And then after that, the Friends theme song.
And then Ex-Girlfriend by No Doubt. Yeah, so you have friends, listener. And,
tell them about your favorite songs.
Yeah, and you're waiting in line for some whiskey at the store, or you just meet someone at the store that's like, I'm into whiskey, and you're like, you're not my friend, but you will be. But why don't I tell you about my favorite podcast / whiskey talk show in the world? And you tell them about Chill Filtered, and that's about it. So that's the business for the week. And help us grow. And in the meantime, besides that, Robbie, how's your week? How you doing?
Well, I just want to add one more thing in there. When you say you're not my friend, but we could be, just be careful how you say you're not my friend.
Yes, yeah, that's probably important. Actually, don't start so strong. Give them some hope. So,
how am I doing? I'm all right, dude. Got myself a new $2,000 toy this week.
Tell me about this $2,000 toy. Is it just like one of those back johns that you like roll on?
No, bro. It's even better than that. It gives me the ability to take a warm shower every single day. We had to replace a water heater. Yeah. So it stunk.
That's fun.
Yeah, we had a leak in it, and it kept putting the pilot light out. So I had about 3 days of just very cold hop in, hop out showers, and now I got a new water heater. So I didn't realize how much. I feel like I was like, oh, I'm going to wash the dishes. It's going to be great. I don't know. I miss having hot water. So we had to do that.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. No,
you ever take cold showers for the heck of it?
No.
For 2 or 3 months, I did it in Arizona. I never mentioned it on the podcast, but it was actually really good.
Probably because you were wearing jeans in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why no, I do
trench of swampy goodness in the shower.
Why did you lean forward like that?
What do you mean?
Trench of swampy goodness. You just airing the trench out?
Oh, no, I didn't realize I did that. That's funny.
No, Seinfeld episode. I took a shower, but it didn't take. Right? I was because I had to do the cold shower this week, and that so the only time I'll really take a cold shower is if I've been in the yard working or I get done working out, and Chelsea's like, we got to go in 5 minutes. I'll be like, oh, this shower's got to get cold, otherwise I'm not going to stop sweating.
Totally.
But then inevitably the shower never really takes. But yeah, apparently it is pretty good. I will say after a cold shower and you get dressed, you feel more invigorated and alive. And
yeah,
maybe it's because you just about died.
So what I did, I watched this YouTube series or YouTube video that was talking about the benefits of cold showers, but they said there was no difference between getting 30 seconds to a minute of cold versus like having the whole shower be cold. So what I would do is I would turn it on and immediately get in, and it would take about a minute to heat up, and then I'd be fine. And it actually like made me feel a lot more like refreshed than if I just had it on heat the whole time. So
it makes sense. I might do that.
Yeah, it's fun
because it's fun when you can go back to warm water.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. It makes the warm water so worth it.
Yeah. What are you entry buzzing on there? What was that?
So this was sent to me by Miles Ferguson. It's Copper Fox Rye, batch 156, 45%. And he told me it was like partially aged in applewood.
Oh.
And I haven't even sipped it yet, but sorry, Miles, this is not a good nose.
Nose good, huh?
Nose good. Speaking of nose good, real quick, I hope everyone enjoyed our drink along yesterday.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Booker's No Strangers batch. So hope it was awesome because we recorded before then, but I bet it was great.
Oh man, I can't believe the thing that person said.
Yeah,
the comment was wonderful. Yeah. No, I've been okay. We had to replace the water heater, and oh man, so like the thing that stinks is we got a cold going through our house, and like I've mentioned before, Finley, like she gets a cold, goes right to her lungs, gets respiratory stuff. So like typically what we'll do, like we've been to the ER a couple of times with it, but the first step is always get her out of bed, you go into the bathroom, the smallest bathroom, just crank the shower, get it steamed up. It was like, oh crap, we don't even have hot water to do that. So I went out and bought
boiled it.
Yeah, just doused her bed with boiling water before she got in. No, so I went out and bought like 3 humidifiers and put them in her room and stuff like that. So we're set now.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So it's one of those weeks, just kind of stinks where you're just like, you don't, and like our house was 2006. So it's like, I was talking to Chelsea, like, it's just like stuff like that's going to start happening. Like we're going to be paying to replace because that's about the age of stuff. So
yeah,
one of those weeks. Anyway, how you doing, man? New job, new call.
Let me tell you about my new job. So I started, as most people know, I started new work at my new job. Robbie's got a baby in the room. Not a baby, you know what I mean.
Okay, you can get chips. You can have whatever you need to get.
Hi, Finley. We'll see you later.
All right.
Finley, what a cutie.
Oh, you're okay.
So yeah, I started up work last week, and you know when you like start work, you have to like give yourself some like be okay with yourself, have a little grace on yourself, saying like it's gonna be a learning curve, and you might not pick up things super quick, but you'll get there in the end. They say like your average job, it takes like between 6 months and 18 months to like really feel comfortable doing what you're doing.
Gotcha.
And so this week I had to learn a new coding language, which I did know a little bit of. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I learned SQL, which is like usually for data manipulation and drawing data from databases. And I needed to relearn it. And so this week I like learned it so quick.
Nice.
And all that to say, like all that, showing grace on yourself. I was really impressed with myself this week. I was like learning things really quick, understanding, asking great questions. And like, to me, I was like, yeah, I'm asking great questions. No, but like, I felt confident in the things that I was saying. And I was like, hey, what's up with this? Why doesn't it work like this? And they're like, oh, in this company, we see this as this. And so, and then get this, Robbie. So get the freaking this. So the company every year does bonuses, and it's right around this time of year. And so the bonuses are based on the prior year's performance and company performance. And I think I might have mentioned this to you. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, off.
Yeah, it might have been off camera. So I wasn't expecting anything this week. And it's literally my first week. And so I had no, actually help in 2021 for the company. But they like gave me a small bonus, and just because, so the company did incredibly well yesterday. They did their earnings release and like a earnings call, and like incredibly well last year. Like compared to my last company, the numbers of like percentage of profit was like 3 times what my last company would make in a year typically. And so it was cool to see that. And that's what they do the bonuses based on. So next year, maybe I'll get like a legit big deal bonus. But literally yesterday, I've never had a bonus in my life until yesterday.
You keep asking those good questions, Cole, and that bonus is going to be
they'll
huge.
be like, "Wow, I'm impressed with his advanced questions." That's
all
I'll do.
Start wearing a Riddler outfit around, like
yeah,
question marks all over your suit. I got good questions.
Yeah, I don't do work. I just ask good questions. Yeah. So first bonus of my freaking life. I was so excited, and it's like, I don't know, and like, it's great. So they were like happy, and like, and the people there, they're good people, really nice. A little more quiet, to be honest, than my last company's people.
Yeah.
But that's okay. They're actually really nice people once you kind of get talking with them. But they're usually like keep to themselves otherwise. But it's not a bad thing.
You gotta start doing what's that? Dexter, you gotta start doing your Dexter donut thing where you show up with donuts.
Oh yeah, you told me about this, and then kill them all, right? That's how the
no, you don't kill your coworkers.
Oh, okay.
We don't eat our friends.
Fish off friends. I also got into an accident this week, and it was very minor. Calling an a fender bender would be overstating what happened.
I thought you peed your pants.
No, not that kind of accident. No.
Okay, little
fender car accident.
What happened?
So there's a
Were you studying for a test?
No, I didn't intentionally make this happen because of stress. I was doing an on-ramp onto I-95, and the on-ramp was like one of the most poorly designed. And I knew this before I got into the accident. It's just a really poor on-ramp for this. It's just so bad. And like basically it merges 3 lanes into one. And then right in the middle of the merge into the 1 lane, it gets on the highway. So you're like merging into 1 lane, but also merging onto the highway. It's very dumb. It's very badly, poorly designed. And some guy it's interesting because it was kind of it's a terrible design. And so, but I got hit from behind as I was merging, not behind. It was like on my wheel basically area. Luckily, no bad damage. The worst of it's just basically a little stronger than a scratch on both cars. But technically, the cop came in. We like got a police report basically, and nothing bad really happened out of it. But technically, it was my fault, which like made me feel like crap. Because
you're never gonna get me, copper. I ain't going back to jail.
Yeah. I was like, you better. Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
So,
but I felt crappy on Thursday because that happened. But it's like it's such low damage, and like my car is at this point 13 years old, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna like get my car fixed because it's really not that bad. I don't know if the other guy's gonna put in a claim. Like an
good thing you got your bonus. You got your bonus.
Well, either way, I'm not going to really have to pay. Plus, my insurance does accident forgiveness for accidents like this. Ooh. So it really won't affect my rates.
I think you have Allstate.
No, I don't.
Oh,
although Allstate is a fantastic company.
They have accident forgiveness too.
They do. I think they were the first to.
It's the one I remembered.
Yeah, because it's got Dennis Haysbert saying, "You're in good hands." I wish I could do his voice.
That was pretty
good. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. But
it's like him with like a stuffy nose.
Yeah, exactly. Which actually makes sense because I got a little stuffy nose today. I gotta like
get your finger out of there, man.
Jeez. No, I'm just clearing the room.
No, I think rim inside the rim. That's not picking.
Yeah. It was
inside
right at the
rim is just get rid of the
just opening it up a little
especially as you get older.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Bring it on.
When we come back from break, I will show you another product that every man our age should possess, and it's cheap.
Is it a neti pot?
No, but everyone should have a neti pot thing.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, those are great. Oh gosh.
Hey,
Cole, are we ready to go to break?
Let's send it to break because Robbie's figuring out family issues, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back from break, and it was what becoming a more frequent occurrence of Robbie's kids.
I feel like you're chastising me a little bit.
Can't control your own kids. No, I'm kidding.
Very passive aggressively. The podcast goes great, except for I mean, it's not a big deal, but kids keep barging in.
No, it's cute. But
well, this is the last week in Chelsea works for a while, so hopefully it'll be easier after that. Yeah.
So what was that woman's voice I heard? Was that Amara?
That was Amara, yeah.
Wow, she's getting so old, man.
I know. She's a
straight up young lady.
She's next weekend she's gonna be 12. Yeah.
12's big, man.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's crazy.
So, last year before she's a teenager. Okay, cool. Before we get into this, I gotta show you guys the product that every man our age should own.
Oh yeah, that's right. That $2,000 product.
What does that do? What does it do, Cole?
Is that like one of those nose sucker blower things?
Kinda. You put it in your nose.
Ooh, it's like a aspirator, nasal aspirator.
You pinch this together, and then you pull out all the nose hairs.
Oh dang! How much does it bleed?
Oh no, it's fine. It doesn't bleed.
Why don't you just get one of those cutter things that just like cuts it without like tearing them out?
Oh, so here's the thing: you cut them, then they're pokey.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, do you not get long nose hairs?
No, I do. Oh, I do.
So you didn't know they poke?
I don't often.
You just let it ride.
I just trim them
straight from nose hair to mustache.
Yeah.
That's quite the nose stash you got there, Cole.
Yeah.
No, long nose hairs drive me nuts. Like I am very nose sensitive. Like if there's something like going on with my nose, I got to take care of that sucker right away. I don't like that.
Huh.
Like right now, I got a little tickle on my right side.
Plucking them? Aren't they gonna grow short? So they like.
Well, no, you pluck them and they grow back with a fine tip, so it doesn't poke.
If only I was, versed in the ways of the nose
there it
plucker.
Is. It's wonderful.
How much was it?
Oh, I think it's like $10 or something like that on Amazon.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's like a syringe.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Anyway,
I always think like I'll do it in the car. Sometimes like people probably think I'm like vaping in my nose or like that.
It's probably better than vaping. Not that we're against vaping, listeners.
Yeah. Well, I
don't think if you vape.
Well, I don't dislike someone who vapes. Like, I dislike someone who vapes as much as it's likely someone's like, oh, he plucks his nose hair. Ugh.
That's true.
No, I think we can all say, the fewer substances you put inside your body, you're probably better.
Yeah.
Fewer unnatural substances.
Yeah.
Because you got to put water in.
Yeah, you got to do that. You got to put whiskey in.
You got to put whiskey. Speaking of putting whiskey in your body. Cool. If we get to $1,000 on Patreon, Cole will butt chug some Macallan. He'll be putting whiskey in his body in a way that we never wanted to know.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see. I'm not going to watch.
Yeah, it'll be
now that we're on YouTube,
recounted by me only. But I'm a man of my word. So anyway,
speaking of whiskey in our bodies today, what are we drinking?
We're drinking not George T. We're drinking Stagg Jr. Batch 12, 132.3 proof. And let's talk about some history. I don't have any shout outs this week. I guess I'll give a quick shout out to Jason Preston, who rejoined Patreon and never really left. So shout out to you, Jason. So this is not our first Stagg Jr. product on the podcast. It's been a long time though. Episode 16. That was 175 episodes ago, if you can believe that. We did 2 batches 16? At once. Episode 16. Nice. We drank batch 3 versus batch 10. We did a double. I'm not too worried about Stagg Jr. history overlapping because it's been a while. Though we have talked in depth about who George T. Stagg was, the person, in our 3 George T. Stagg episodes that we've done. So I'm just going to talk about Stagg Jr. releases for the most part. So the Stagg Jr. releases started in 2013. Basically, before it came out, the Stagg name, in terms of the Buffalo Trace Distillery, went to George T. Stagg, which was also barrel proof and mash bill number 1. But this one was at no less than 15 years aged. The first appearance of George T. Stagg was in 2002 when it was introduced to the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. The Buffalo Trace Distillery wanted to give a more available, lesser aged mash bill number 1 option, also at cask strength, and so they started doing Stagg Jr. They don't give age statements on Stagg Juniors, or should I say Staggs, because they're actually dropping the junior from future batches as of now. So it's just Stagg, but I'm gonna keep calling Stagg Jr. until that happens. But it's assumed
call Sazerac baby Saz, and it's not on the label.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't tell me what to do, Buffalo Trace.
Especially improperly merged. Like, you can't make me not merge the way I want to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Except, when
too soon.
When the claim comes in. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's
fine. Yeah, so no.
To this day, there are 17 releases of Stagg Jr. 18 is coming soon, and that's the one. The next one, the 18, will be the one without the junior. The first batch, released in fall of 2013, was 134.4 proof. The hottest release of all of the 17. And it was met with some disappointment. Apparently, it was a little too hot without too many good tasting notes to match, according to most reviewers. It wasn't well received at first. Since then, Buffalo Trace has been trying to balance, to do a good balance of heat and flavor of each release. The lowest proof batch yet was batch 10, the one we've done already, and that was spring 2018, and that was 126.4 proof. And which is kind of funny when you compare it to George T. Stagg, again, aged at a minimum of 15 years. George T. Stagg has seen some lower proofs, and one altogether lower than Stagg Jr. Was in 2019. There was the 116.9, which we reviewed, which is almost 8 proof less than the Stagg Jr.'s lowest one. So that being said, some releases of Stagg Jr. are reviewed as all right at best.
All right. Is this the secondary reviews barometer?
No, that is something like all right at best is meh on my secondary rating list. But yeah, some are praised even more highly than George T. Stagg of this same year, or even just random years of George T. Stagg. Some could be even better in most people's opinion, including this. Batch 12 actually got a lot of praise from some prominent reviewers that said this is easily better than the 2019 Stagg. But we'll see. I'm not here to be swayed by what people say. But, who knows? There's always bias. Releases are 2 a year thus far, with exception of the first release, which was in the late stage of 2013. On a personal note, this Stagg Jr., the release, is my white whale whiskey. And I've mentioned this before, I believe. I can never seem to get it since I got one in it was batch 3, I believe, in 2015. And it escapes me every time, including this week when it was released in Virginia. I was everywhere left and right, and friends got it, but I didn't get it. So it's a hard one. It really, I've gotten more success getting George T. Stagg than I have getting Stagg Jr.
Yeah.
And apparently Robbie can get it pretty easily.
Well, I used to get it. I've gotten 3, so I really and 3 years actually now. Gosh, now I'm going on 4 or 5 years. I've been actually buying whiskey, so I've gotten it 3 times.
Nice.
And it used to be I would get 1 a year. I'd see it on this.
That's great. I wish, man. Stagg Jr. could be amazing.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not since the accident.
Yeah, incident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, cool. We just keep
going back. I've always said accident. I feel like you've always said incident.
Yep.
Yeah, which is good. I think our listeners come to love it.
See, an accident implies something happened that we didn't want to happen.
Yeah. What does the incident imply?
Incident implies I could have wanted it to happen. I could have come in guns blazing, being like, "Cole, you're a duty head. Deal with it."
Yeah.
I think
so. I still like accident though.
I think incident.
Accident sounds like the noodle incident from, except I said incident from Calvin and Hobbes. Someone out there recognizes that reference. And the noodle incident is like the background of that is that they reference it a bunch of times, but you don't know what it actually represents. And so you have this idea of what happened with the noodle incident, but they never explain it. So I thought
that's the thing. So see,
there's
some implied drama and mystery there. Mm-hmm. Noodle accident. You're like, well, did he burn the noodles or did he drop the noodles? What happened? It's yeah.
I can see where you're going with that. I just think of accidents as I work in insurance. And so it's oh, that was a bad accident. And it involved, those farmers insurance where they're yeah, we someone kicked their dog out the window and it hit the car and like broke the windshield, which is a really bad example because it's not funny. Yeah. But if it was a cat, it'd be different. If they like kicked their cat out the window.
Hey.
Anyway,
I don't care for cats.
I'm not for animal abuse in any way.
What about
maybe they kicked?
Couldn't you just say kick
plush
ball?
Yeah, kick the ball.
People kick balls.
Yeah, some people are into that, So anyway,
Los locos kick balls. Did we talk about that on the podcast?
That sounds familiar.
Short circuit.
Yeah. I feel like Bryce Morita chimed in that he like caught that reference last time, but I don't remember. Maybe not. Bryce Morita catches every reference.
He does. Yeah. I do like his. All right, let's get into the podcast.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Wait, I thought that was the podcast.
Oh, that was yeah. Hey, we're back, guys.
Yeah. No, let's start over.
We were just talking. No, let's just go.
Okay, yeah. Hey, people understand. Things happen. Robbie's camera went out, and we're back up. So
yeah, my backup camera. I forgot to charge my battery, but it said it was full when I started. I was telling Cole, I'm like the worst partner on podcasts. No, I got kids invading. I got cameras dying. Dog getting booted out a window, and their heads are falling off. Yeah.
Speaking of which, how are our Moose and Bo?
No one's eaten any trash recently, so I'm pleased with them. Although last night,
no one's punted either one of them either. That's just great news.
Last night we were watching Peacemaker, White Chelsea and I, and Bo's laying on my lap. All of a sudden he jumps off, goes underneath the couch, and I can hear him puking, but I cannot reach him because we have like this long chase latch thing. I'm like, awesome. That's he just pukes underneath the couch, so I can't wait till we have to move that someday.
Yeah,
golly.
That's funny. So you didn't like clean it up? You just like let it happen?
They'll
probably eat it anyway.
At that point, Mara and I had been watching Karate Kid, and I had already fallen asleep on the couch. Mm-hmm. So I was tired. I was in no shape to move the entire couch.
That's a big couch.
Yeah. So
anyway, I'll finish my notes.
Yeah.
So what we're drinking today, the Batch 12. This was released in the summer of 2019. As mentioned, it is a 132.3 proof. Mash bill number 1, which according to Buffalo Trace is a rye bourbon mash bill, but not necessarily a high rye bourbon. It is assumed that mash bill number 1 has less than 10% rye in the mash bill, as opposed to mash bill number 2, where it is assumed, but not stated, that it is about 10 to 12% rye in the mash bill. But who knows? So those mash bills are some of the best kept secrets in Kentucky.
I'm not telling.
What's that?
And I'm not telling.
I'm not telling. I know, but I'm not telling.
I'm not talking. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah. It's assumed that it's aged between about 7 to 9 years. And as we mentioned before, the retail is around 55 these days. Secondary can be in the hundreds, depending on the batch. So I have like a really small amount left, or not left. I guess you must not have had much in your bottle.
Oh yeah, I have very little, so it's going to be a bottle kill today.
Yeah, for sure. So
it was one of those things. I might have been able to get you more, except for hold it up here. It's hard to tell because it's a little concave. I don't know how much I have in there.
That's a risk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was like, I did my best to pour it, but yeah, there it is. This is even dusty because I think I got this. This is
2019.
2019. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been
like 3 years ago almost.
I am awful at
math.
Holding on to bottles and math.
Well, I was like, we just ended with like 2021 or 2022 to 2019. I was like, is he going to mention math? No, you're good at math. I've seen you do plus ones.
I do plus ones and minus ones, bruh. Oh man, I don't have my crystal. My Waterford.
Waterford. Yeah.
All right, I've never done one of these little bottle kill things. Boom.
Oh, nice. Put it up to the video so people would be like, "Wow, I guess he finished that bottle."
I'm gonna take a picture. You
should light the inside on fire. You know how people do that with their bottle kills?
I've never seen that.
No, they'll cap it after it's been empty, and then there's still like little vapors in there, alcohol vapors.
Hey, and make a cute face. Make a cute face. Oh, perfect. Okay. All right.
And they'll do they'll just put one of those long tipped lighters into the middle of it, and it like I did it the other day, and it like almost blew my arm hair off, like it like burned it off. Yeah, it was
now that would be an accident.
Yeah, that would be a
if I forced you to do it, that would be an incident.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cole's got his fancy man Glencairn out.
Yeah, I got full my long stems. This kind of smells like Mashville #1, which most of our listeners know I'm not a hater on. Maybe too much of a fan of sometimes. But it's fruity, it's appley, it is bright as opposed to dark, kind of caramely. It's got more fruity notes than it does vanilla and caramel notes on this guy.
Absolutely. I could have given you a little bit more. I got a decent amount.
Nice. Ooh.
Yeah, I could have given you a little bit more.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I just never get the Stagg Jr.
Oh.
It's life, man. It's life. Well, yeah, I bet there's some people out there that can never get certain bottles. Actually, I am sure there are certain people out there that like can't find that one special bottle that they've always like been searching for. Yeah. What?
So I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago. This was like the first whiskey I was like, I kind of like promoted my love for whiskey, or at least high proof stuff for sure. And I like this bottle a lot, but right now I'm getting a decent amount of bitterness, and I don't know it's because it's just
it might be the oxidation
or not, but
it's been at like an inch or less for like maybe a year,
3 years.
Yeah, probably. So that might just be oxidation.
Yeah,
mine's not bad
because actually I got this bottle end of 2019. So like this was like a COVID bottle for me, where like I had a lot of nips off of it like from March to June, and I've just been saving the last little bit of it because it's hard to kill a bottle,
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. So speaking of getting whiskeys, you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah, please.
In 2019, I was able to go to my liquor store and say, I would like to get some Blanton's. And they looked it up and go, it's in the warehouse. You want us to order it for you? And
nice.
I said, yeah. They said, how many do you want?
What?
And at that time, my whiskey budget wasn't as big as it is now.
Yeah.
And I was like,
10?
2?
Yeah.
So they got 4 bottles in. They go, I got 4. How many do you want? And I was like, well, I only got enough for 2 right now. So, boy, the world has changed.
Boy, to the world has changed.
Boy, to the world. How's your like? Okay, I will say this: a mouthfeel, perfect. I think the proofage on it is great. It's nice and warm, but it's not overheated.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think, it's definitely, the proof is perfect. It's high proof, but it's got the flavor to back it up, and those notes are not surprisingly those bright, fruity, appley notes that we're used to in Mashville #1, things like Buffalo Trace or Eagle Rare or even Stagg Senior, which I like to call it. No one else seems to call it that. I always call it Stagg Senior, but it's just George G. Stagg, in case anyone, it's like, it's not called Stagg Senior. Anyway,
your name's not Stupid Head, but that's what everybody calls you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Jerk Store called. And
what's the matter? You're their all-time bestseller.
And he doesn't know how to respond. I watched that recently.
So I added a lot of water. Notes-wise, the second sip was less bitter. Got a decent amount of oak and berries. A little bit of berries, a little mixed berries.
I like the berry notes. That's a great note.
It's very nice.
Yeah, it's a little more potent on the nose for me. I think it vapored it up a lot more. I'm getting a little more burn just on the nose.
I added way more water than I wanted to.
Oh, really?
So mine's not quite there. But
really good palate there.
Yeah, I think caramel, really caramely for me with the water. Like that really starts to show up. So
a little more caramel. Yeah, for sure. As opposed to those notes that were just bright, less caramel, less vanilla. There's a little more caramel, a little more, but the apple's still there. It is like a caramel apple, this one, to me. Really nice, fruity, bright apple, as opposed to a sour apple or like a baking apple. It's kind of a nice, fresh, like a pink lady which is actually my favorite apple these days. I've tried a lot of apples and just said, like, I'm going to find out which apple is best. And Pink Lady is my go-to now. Honeycrisp pales in comparison. It's bland in comparison to a Pink Lady.
My favorites are just Fuji's. I love Fuji apples. Price-wise, on point. Yeah. Taste-wise, on point.
Yeah. I think Fuji's are better than Honeycrisp, too. I'm not a big fan of Honeycrisp. I think they're bland. Yeah.
I don't even buy them.
Good.
Yeah.
Shouldn't.
I don't.
So anyway, these are like Pink Ladies.
Pink Ladies, also my favorite female gang in the movie Grease.
Oh, really? Are they called the Pink Ladies?
I think they're called the Pink Ladies.
You know, I've never seen Grease.
I have never seen Grease since I've been old enough to understand it's all about sex.
Yeah, pretty much.
I watched, my sister's favorite, and I probably watched it with her like 20 times when I was a kid on VHS. And then one time saw a song and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize little Robbie was listening to that sort of thing.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you my the director of Grease went to my high school?
Oh, nice.
And
tell me more.
Oh, I'll tell you more. The whole setting actually looks like my high school. Like the whole, like when they're at the school and when they're outside the school and like at events near the school, it looks just like my high school.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because the director went
to your high school.
Yeah. Radnor High, baby.
So this is something we've gotten in our new ice maker.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to bite my ice in half all the time.
They say that's not good for you.
It's got big chunks.
Well, at least you don't drop your 2 best cubes on the ground.
Oh, gosh. That album is going to be sick.
Dude, I can't wait.
All right, drop a cube.
Me too. I was about to say that too, which is a rare occasion these days to use the phrase drop a cube.
You know what we haven't said for a while?
What? That it's colder?
Wait, what? It is colder.
Weird.
No, we haven't said bus driver.
That's true.
Drop that cube.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt Porter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, speaking of Matt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got some ADHD whiskey stickers in the house.
Now, the problem with this one is I realized I just placed the stickers I had. So I got my Bourbon Badger.
Oh, you should have spread them out more.
I got my Embellish Pod, and I got our old school sticker. I spaced them nice and neat and accordingly.
I just found a thing that I'm going to put stickers on, but go ahead. No.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny because remember how I was saying I don't have a thing that I put stickers on?
Mm-hmm.
Well, to do the water heater, I had to get the crawl space area opened up, so I took stuff out. And my old guitar case, I forgot, is covered in, it's like mostly skate stickers and some like punk band stuff. But I was like, I did have a sticker thing. I forgot about that.
What was that? What was that skate? What do you call it? The skate company that like had a panda or something like that.
Enjoy.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually have an Enjoy sticker on there.
Not surprised. Does it have a panda?
Man. Yes, it does. It's a yellow one.
Yeah, really good nose on this ice.
Oh my gosh, it is super bright appley.
Yeah, and it's like bubblegummy almost a little bit.
I can see the sweetness, like the sweetness is there. I don't necessarily get a bubble gum.
It's not bright, but I mean, it's not a strong bubble gum to me. I mean, you might not get it at all, but like to me, I'm getting like a nice, almost like a half chewed bubble gum where it's got some flavor still, and it's a little bit sweet, but it's not like super potent in the bubblegum flavor.
I'll be darned. I think I like it best with ice.
It
is pretty good. The nose is super bright, super sweet.
It is good. It might be the best. Actually, it is the best.
Yeah.
Which is surprising for a bourbon.
I just finished the bottle and found out I liked it best this way. Golly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. It's super, like, everything's a lot sweeter, brighter. I get a good amount of, how many years is this aged again? Because I get a decent amount of oak, but it's
7
like
to
a
9.
good oak. Yeah. Okay, because the oak with the water was a little more prominent, but with ice, like it's just a nice mellow oak. There's not much.
I think Broasca Tessunosa, he reached out and I think he said, I have that release. So if you're drinking with us, Broasca Tessunosa, drink it with some ice. I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, he's gonna. We're not kidding. He's gonna enjoy it with us. So
I mean, you can enjoy this either way.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's a good whiskey,
but it is.
But with ice, it's surprisingly really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nuts. I forgot what I was going to say.
I have an idea of rating.
You got an idea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to give this a 9.05.
Okay.
It is worth 9+. It's just got, I love fruity notes on a bourbon. I just like bright fruity notes are amazing. So that passed the test there for me. But I don't think it's like too high into the 9 range. And it's just above 9.0, like the threshold. But I mean, it's good. 9.05 is great. There was like a tiny bit of like the neat pour was, I wouldn't say bitter, but there was something there that kind of ended the finish. Like it just dropped off at the finish. And it didn't just continue and was like amazing throughout. That's my only complaint, is that the finish dropped off without continuing on those really great palate notes. Like I said, and like we've said, really good with ice, which is surprising. Yeah, so 9.05.
Yeah. I'm going to be real close to you. I'm going to give it a 9.2. And I think a lot of it is because I just loved this bottle.
Mm-hmm.
This bottle was my hub to what.
Nice.
And I love it. 9.2. Yeah, it's I think proofage wise, it's just about perfect. Like it's you're drinking a strong whiskey, but you're not hurt by the strong whiskey.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Man, the ice pour blew my mind. Super fruity.
It's rare. Yeah.
Perfect oak on it. So yeah. I'll go 9.2.
I love it. So I guess it's time for our next segment of the show we like to call Whiskey World News.
And we're back. It's time for Whiskey World News, part of the show where we read an article, we talk about it. We didn't write it, we're just going to read it, and here we go. This week's comes from Vine Pair and is written by Robert Simonson and illustrated by Daniel Grenberg. It's not often to get an illustrator thing.
I like it illustrated. Mm-hmm. And Vine Pair is good at that. They usually do illustration.
Yeah, it's very Art Deco-y, fun things. It's titled, Why Do Rye Whiskeys Almost Always Have Green Labels?
It's a good question. Yeah, we've asked this before on the podcast, and we had never had an answer.
Well, Cole, here we go.
Yep.
Whiskey writer Clay Risen was having a discussion with his publisher about the look of his upcoming book, A Study of Rye Whiskey, due this fall. His previous volume about American whiskey had a black cover. A subsequent book on Scotch had a blue cover. What shade should the rye book be? Green. No. When I was talking with the book designer, there wasn't much discussion, says Risen. The book cover was going to be green. Risen and his publisher were only following the lead of nearly every rye producer who has launched a bottle during that great rye whiskey revival of the past decade or so. Stroll down the rye aisle at any liquor store in America, and you'll be seeing green. And just lists a lot of labels. Mm-hmm. Even old rye brands like Jim Beam, which used to have a yellow label, have gone green. And the trend has crossed the ocean. When Johnnie Walker recently came out with its high rye blended Scotch, the company took green as its color. It's become sort of associated with it, says North Rothbaum, a spirits writer, whiskey expert, and co-editor of the recent Oxford Companion to Spirits and Cocktails. Well, that sounds interesting. I'm going to check that out at the local library. Rothbaum notes that there is little to no historical precedent for this modern phenomenon. If you look at other ryes that were made in the dark ages of the 1970s through the 1990s, he says Jim Beam used yellow label, Old Overholt was white label, Rittenhouse rye, there's no green there. Wild Turkey rye has a long touch of dark green in its packaging, but not enough to account for the dominant hue plays in today's current market. Anecdotally, it's possible that green has become synonymous with rye is a more modern development, says Joe Magliocco, president of Michter's. President of Michter's.
Yeah, we just talked about him.
Distillery and founder of its parent company, Chatham Imports. Magliocco. May have something to do with that development. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, when Michter's team was working on the design for what would become its rye, Magliocco gravitated toward green. Green went with the feel we wanted, he explains. When I think of red, I think of sweeter things. Green is a little spicy, a little herbaceous. Rye is also a winter crop, and green can be sort of a winter color. That feeling is shared by others. Without having known Magliocco's thought process from 20 years ago, Rise and Muses, I think of rye as almost being an herbal spirit. The notes that come to mind first are herbal notes: thyme, basil, bell pepper. Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that's that spice. Thyme, basil, bell pepper. I could see that.
Oregano.
Oregano.
Or should I say oregano?
Is that from something?
No.
Okay.
People are always like, no, it's always on those shows where they're like, what's this? As they like flick the bag that has green stuff in it. And they're like, oh, that's oregano.
Yeah. So I think green speaks to that as well. There's a youthfulness to it. Whatever early role Mictors may have played in associating rye with the color green, 2011 seems to have been the year of the rye revival. 2011, did I say 17? 2011 seems to have been the year the rye revival went fully verdant. That was the year both Bullet and Woodford Reserve rye were released. Both had green labels. Let's skip down here just a little bit. There's something intangible about the green that makes sense to both the executive Diageo and the various bartenders Beale polled. People thought green sent the right signals. He recalls, and others thought it was just a nice color. There were no green labels on anything anywhere. We thought it was a very beautiful and compatible next to the orange label of the bourbon. Bourbon is a sort of friendly, warm feel because of the russet hues of the liquid. There wasn't a color that worked quite as well as green for the rye bottle. Now that the industry and public have collectively connected their color green and rye whiskeys in mind, Beale believes there's probably no going back on the color coding. That may be one of the hottest spirits in the world. Having a label that makes sense to consumers, even though it's an odd connection, why go against the grain on that? People go into a store, they're into rye, they see a familiar green label, they buy it. So there you go, Cole. Why are the labels green? Because someone did it and people kept doing it.
So I actually don't. I don't think this was good journalism. It doesn't have like it's very it's like here's what happened, but that's actually not a few things on there weren't true. Like that was like it sounds like the guy behind Mictors, Joe Magliocco, was kind of like I'm just going to add green to this. Correct me if I'm wrong. The way I heard it was Joe Magliocco was basically the beginner of adding green to rye labels. So that's not true. Old Overholt has had green on their label since like pre-prohibition, and they're a rye. So all I'm saying is he wasn't the first, and to claim that he was is a little bad journalism in my opinion. So shame on you. Whatever that guy's name is. I'm doing the tisk. But I hope I'm not the only one thinking this, but like, yeah, Old Overholt has green on it and they've had it for a long time. And so like, if you're claiming that you were the first to put green on a rye label and then say, well, then after that, other people started doing it. I think, well, you lost your whole case there because you weren't the first. So I'm glad that you brought this article up because I actually I sent it to you, but I never read it. But it's
so you didn't read it either.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
No, but you got it. Like I'm a math guy, and if you're gonna report on something, you might as well have proof, and your proof can't be disputed because in math, if you give a proof of contradiction, then the contradiction to their saying that Joe Magliocco and Mictors was the first green label is false because they weren't the first green label. And I know that because my friend had a bottle of pre-prohibition Old Overholt. So, okay. Yeah. What do you think?
I'm not as angry about it as you are.
Oh, I'm angry.
No, I mean, I'm okay with their justification. People did it.
The people will listen to whatever the media tells them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe the whiskey media.
I'm the sheeple.
Yeah, that must
I'm helping.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's for all of us now.
Makes sense. I mean, maybe it needs a deeper dive. Maybe it's just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe you need to buy the book to get the
yeah.
So there you go. All right. I think it's time to switch over to what whiskey would you choose? And last week
you killed me, man.
Well, hold on here just a second. I think part of that is due to the fact that
not many people have had Eagle Rare 17.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like most of us have had Stagg Jr.
Yeah. In the whiskey world.
In the whiskey world, yeah. So I won that one. What's the first whiskey you fell in love with? I first fell in love with this bottle right here. And speaking of which, I'm going to kill my last little bit.
And then pour it out for the homie. The drips left. Yeah. Spit it out for the homie.
Oh, some did come out. I didn't finish it.
Nice. Right on your lap.
Right on my lap. Where my homie always liked to sit.
Shout out to the homie.
All right. Anyway, some write-ins. Who gives a Dram? Connor.
Nice.
With Bullet Bourbon.
Nice.
I used to, in my early journey, I used to like Bullet Bourbon a lot. I think it was kind of my go-to for like gifting and stuff because it looks
it's accessible whiskey.
Accessible, and it's just kind of I think the shape of the bottle is just appealing.
So frontiery.
Fish and Sips. Who's Fish and Sips?
Gosh. Sean Ciaro.
Okay. Went with Lagavulin 16.
Nice.
Brian Rapp, Dickel, Bottle and Bond.
Nice.
Miles Ferguson, Kilta 518, went with Ardbeg, just regular 10-year-old, and then he fell in love with Isla.
Nice.
Joel M09, a Tassie whiskey aged in a 60-year-old Muscat barrel opened my eyes to what whiskey could be. And he's in Tasmania, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we might have a Tasmanian hookup courier at some point.
What?
We might have a courier hookup.
Oh, courier.
Yeah,
I thought you said career.
That will be going to Australia and possibly Tasmania. So
good to know,
Joel. We might finally be able to get you samples.
Yeah.
Great. Markham KC Bookers back when we could get it for under 50.
Yeah.
And Marker 5151 Buffalo Trace.
Nice.
So that's the whiskeys that you first fell in love with.
Love it.
And Cole, that was on Valentine's Day. The last episode came out. We talked about what whiskey you fell in love with because it was Valentine's Day.
But this Monday,
Happy President's Day, y'all.
Yeah.
Hey, you're probably home right now, chilling, relaxing, maxing all cool. It's President's Day.
I am. I get the day off. Yeah.
Nice. We might. Yeah. I do too. But presidents. The first letter in presidents is
P.
Did
that in my head.
Oh shoot! And the second one, take the P off. What word do you have, Cole?
Residence.
No. Residence. So the P could stand for permanent.
Ooh.
The resident is just resident.
Yeah.
Cole, this week's What Whiskey You Choose. What is the first whiskey that became a permanent resident President's Day on your shelf?
Yeah.
What's the first whiskey?
So I guess that question is like, what is a whiskey that you always keep stocked? Is that right?
Whiskey you always keep stocked that is a permanent resident. I go over to Cole's house and he's got crappy whiskey everywhere except for I know this one bottle is always going to be there that I kind of like.
Yeah, it's going to be Buffalo Trace for me.
Just Buffalo Trace.
Yep. There were times where it would be Eagle Rare, but there were times where I couldn't get Eagle Rare. But there was always Buffalo Trace on the shelf. So that is always going to be there, whether it's for cocktails, for drinking straight.
Raspberry smashes.
Like that. Raspberry sunshines. Sunshines. That would sound cooler and more legit, a raspberry smash.
Yeah,
which there is such a thing.
Sunshine.
Yeah, cool.
No, there's Okay, so Buffalo Trace for you. Big surprise.
Yeah. Well, at least it was Eagle Rare. Yeah.
Oh, big surprise on my behalf. But
gotcha.
Rare breed.
Nice.
For me. Yeah. I just
always got to keep one.
It's my fave. I love that stuff. It's delicioso. And if I don't have rare breed, I probably will always have Wild Turkey.
Nice.
I just love it. It's good.
Love that. I'm very curious to see what our listeners will say this week.
Yeah.
Concerning their shelves.
What is your resident whiskey on your shelf? Your permanent resident. Yeah.
I feel like that's a great question.
I feel happy that you like that.
Yeah. I'm always happy with your questions.
Yeah.
So next week.
Okay.
We got to talk about, and we're doing okay on time.
Better than
most. We might be under an hour. Yeah.
That includes breaks where I had to chase children out of the recording studio.
Yeah, for like
breaks
3
where
minutes,
I had to replace cameras.
That's true.
Yeah. So I think we're going to be sub 1 hour.
Yeah. So this week, remind me if I'm wrong, we're going to do Four Roses standard. Like not even their small batch, not even their single barrel, just their standard.
The $20 bottle.
Versus Pendleton, the Canadian / like Oregon spirit.
Oh, we'll have to find out.
Whiskey. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think it does have a weird kind of connection.
It's like from like Mount Hood or something, like water from Mount Hood, but it's like a Canadian whiskey.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do just with Wild West marketing.
So if you want to vote for a really interesting story that we haven't talked about before, which we have talked about Four Roses a little bit. We've had at least 3 episodes on Four Roses thus far. But if you want something new, go with Pendleton. If you want something potentially more delicious, go with Four Roses. But
I don't know.
Go with what your heart tells you. Go
listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. And buy Allstate insurance. I gotta blow my nose.
Yeah. And you can be protected from mayhem like me. That guy's really funny. Dean Winters. He's I love those mayhem commercials.
Yeah, and he's on, was it 30 Rock?
Yeah, and he was on Brooklyn Nine-Nine a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. He was, what was it? The Vulture.
Yeah. the episode where, it's pretty funny. He's just such a tool. Like, he plays the tool so well.
What's the similar to the brother on Arrested Development that did the voice of Batman?
Job. Yeah. What's his name? Oh man,
I can't remember. He's got
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. He's got a fun podcast.
Such a tool. Oh, with Jason Bateman, right?
Jason Bateman, and then the guy from Will and Grace.
Oh, nice.
But it's called
Sean Hayes.
Yeah, Smart. This is a pretty fun show.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever listened to it?
No, but I'm down.
Yeah, it's the premise is one of them surprises the other two with a guest every week.
Oh, cool.
And they all, and like with their connections, it's always
it's cool people.
Someone crazy, someone fun to listen to.
I love that.
So yeah, it's a good one. Smartless. Check it out.
Nice.
But not before you checked us out. And if you're still listening,
yeah.
If you're still listening, I don't know what I'm worried about here. I don't.
Yeah. Hopefully this is past your third or fourth episode and you're already hooked. So, Robbie, I hope that that stuff.
Yeah.
I hope that our listeners are satisfied with me giving a 9+ rating to another Buffalo Trace product.
Cool. I hope you get the little dinger on the dent on the backside of your car. I hope it works out well for you and you don't need to fix it.
I hope that you get that dinger in the dent out of your backside fixed too.
Do I have a dinger in the dent on my backside?
No, I haven't seen anything recently.
Have you been looking? No. I go over and check my whiskey shelf and Cole's going,
ooh, look at that dinger and dent.
Ooh, Barracuda. But most of all, listeners, I got to do another Cole one, don't I?
You can do whatever you want.
We got to tighten this segment up a little bit. I think we're getting a little loose.
People love it.
Cool. But most of all, listeners, I hope our love of spirits lift the world. So your toot went on so long, I thought to myself, I think I'm getting static.